Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted that you have welcomed us into your home, and we wish you a blessed new year. Send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today, our guest is Rick Spinello. He is the professor of ethics at Boston College. He's the author of a wonderful book called The Splendor of Marriage, St. John Paul II's vision of love and marriage and family and the culture of life. And you could get this great book at ewtnrc.com. Maybe you're thinking, you know, my husband and I, we need a reset. We need to renew. We need to restore. Maybe you're married 20 years, 5 years, 30 years, 40 years, and you're thinking, I need more truth, because what's happening to us in our culture is the culture and the church are drifting far from the truth. And what happens to us as human beings, we go there too. We go there in our thinking. We don't want to be judgmental. We don't want to say anything. But meantime, your family, people are living together, people having babies out of wedlock, people are confused about their sexual identity. I mean, this is real, and you think, how did this happen? Well, Pope John Paul warned us about this. He tried to be a voice in the wilderness to say, church, pay attention, don't forget. And there are some in the church that would like to just forget that he even existed as a pope, let alone all of his teachings and all of the beautiful truth that he shared with us.
Some of the chapters here, the Pope of the family, marriage and its enemies, personhood, freedom, sexual identity, the personalistic norm and the sexual drive, true love, sexual morality and chastity, marriage, the great mystery, defending humanae vitae, the transmission of human life, how that is supposed to be done according to the created order, according to divine revelation, the family, marriage, and the culture. If you, like Joy and myself, have said numerous times, how did we get here? How did this take place? Spinello can tell you how we got here. And then how do we get out of it? What's happening? What are the answers to this? Spinello will give you the answers based on the teaching of the Catholic Church and John Paul II. And he does it in a way that's very readable, understandable, that you can apply, that you can share with the generations yet to come. Here at EWTN, we want to equip you as parents, as Catholic people, as people of goodwill, to be informed, to be educated. There's a lot of mystery in the Catholic faith, but we want to also explain the mystery of iniquity so that you can tell the difference between good and evil, right and wrong, what the society is saying about sexuality and about gender and what God has stamped upon the human person, and how wonderful it is, how splendid it is to be a human being, and how grand marriage and the family, according to the created order and God's plan is. And life, marriage, and the family will prevail in this world and on into eternity in the Lord, our ultimate family, our ultimate groom. Plenty more to come. We'll be right back. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest is Rick Spinello. He's the author of a wonderful book called The Splendor of Marriage. You could get this great book at ewtnrc.com. Now, Rick, you opened the book with the ominous quote from Sister Lucia, one of the children from Fatima, and Jim's going to read the quote, and I want you to tell our family why you open with that and explain that to our viewers.
I think this is Sister Lucia in response to the late Cardinal Caffarra speaking about marriage and the family as he was overseeing a particular group, the Institute for Studies on Marriage and the Family. And so Sister Lucia he wasn't soliciting a response like this, but she said this, one of those who saw Our Lady of Fatima and heard about grieving the heart of Our Lady, grieving the heart of Jesus Christ, and what we need to do to bless the heart of Christ. Anyway, she says, the final battle between the Lord and the reign of Satan will be about marriage and the family. Do not be afraid, because anyone who works for the sanctity of marriage and the family will always be fought and opposed in every way, because this is the decisive battle. And so, Rick, you want to say why you shared that and unpack that a little bit? And I think it's so important because, I don't want people to get the idea, this is an academic book to some degree, and you're sharing about John Paul's vision, you're sharing about the teaching of the Catholic Church, but this isn't just a simple academic pursuit. It's really life and death and the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan and what's going on in our nation and in the world. So unpack why you use that quote.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. Actually, Sister Lucia spoke about this issue twice.
Okay.
In 1957, it was her last public interview, and the interview was given with a Mexican priest, Father Augustin Fuentes. And in that interview, she said, the Blessed Virgin has told me that Satan is engaged in a battle with the Virgin, a decisive battle. So a couple of things there. First of all, this was an apparition for us. Remember, she continued to have apparitions of Our Blessed Lady after Fatima during her time at the Carmel. So this is right from Our Blessed Mother herself. And Our Blessed Mother was in the middle of the battle. Now it's a battle between Satan and the Virgin, right? So we hear about it then. And then, as you pointed out, later in 1981, when Cardinal Carlo Caffarra wrote to her to ask for prayers for the success of the Institute for Marriage and Family that he was setting up at the request of John Paul II, she wrote the quote that you read. So she repeats it, but this time she's more specific, and she says, well, there's this final decisive battle that's about marriage and family. So I think we have to take it very seriously. I mean, I think this is a private revelation. It's based on an apparition of Mary. I think anybody can look around in culture today and see that we're in a battle, and it's a pretty brutal battle. Unfortunately, some in the church have retreated from it. I think that retreat really began with Humanae Vitae, a lot of hierarchy which stood up for that encyclical and do that. John Paul II did it, but many did not. They didn't explicitly undermine it, but they kind of ignored it and kind of hoped it would go away.
Yes. Yes.
So we're in a battle. I think the reason that so many in the church perhaps are reticent to engage in the battle is because it's a battle. There are going to be casualties. This is going to be difficult.
Yes.
But
yeah.
clear, we have to pick a side, right? Either we're going to fight to preserve the teachings of the church, the teachings of Jesus Christ on marriage, or we're going to be on the other side.
Yeah, we do have to pick a side, and if we don't pick a side, the world's going to tell us what side we're on. And so this whole thing of tolerance, and I believe I am a tolerant person. I understand that we need a quickening to understand the created order to some degree and divine revelation to come to Jesus Christ. So we need to be tolerant of people who are ignorant, as I've been ignorant in a number of ways, and say, well, this is why they're living the way they did, and look at the way I lived at some point, so I need this. But you know what? As time goes on now, the other side, those that, whether they know it or not, are aligned with the kingdom of evil or the modern ideologies of this time, or Marxism or whatever it might be, they're not very tolerant. And, we see this in numerous ways. It's certainly not tolerant to the preborn children, over 60 million now, Lord have mercy, that have been aborted. Mercy upon those who've engaged in this, and light can come to us. We can repent. We can be among the most eloquent spokespersons on behalf of life. But this is a grave evil. And we're looking at marriage, and all of a sudden marriage has become flexible and rewritten. You could rewrite the law of marriage, but you can't rewrite marriage, the essence and the principles of marriage, the properties of marriage. Would you speak to this as regards what marriage is, what marriage does in terms of the created order and divine revelation, what it is, what are the properties of it, and where do children fit into the true definition of marriage?
Sure, yeah. Let me go back and talk just a bit more about spousal love, because spousal love is really, understanding that's really the key to understanding marriage. So we talked in the last show about the different kinds of love. Love is always seeking the good of the other, and a union, particularly the union of friendship. And the deepest love is spousal love. love between a man and a woman where a man and a woman give their total selves to each other. It's total self-donation. And spousal love uh, it really exemplifies what John Paul II called the law of the gift, because there is this innate drive that all human beings have, this need to sort of go out to others, to share with others, to share their gifts with others. And spousal love is sort of the highest form of this self-giving. And one would think, that if you give yourself to another, you're going to lose yourself, right? You kind of get lost in each other. But actually, paradoxically, when you give yourself to another, you find yourself.
Yes.
When you give yourself to another, there's mutual self-donation, then you have a more mature self-possession.
Right.
You have a greater self-confidence. You really find who you are. So spousal love should be a way for two people to find themselves in the other.
Right.
Now, spousal love needs a kind of framework, needs to be formalized, and that's sort of what marriage is. He talks about marriage as an institution, a covenant, and a communion. So it's an institution because society recognizes marriage in a formal way, and it's an institution. And he explains that it kind of justifies sexual relations. In a mature society that cares about sexual morality, we want to know that they're together, that their sexual relations are justified. So that's part of the reason. It's also a covenant, not a contract, covenant. A covenantal communion between a man and a woman really mirrors the covenantal communion between God and His church, God and His people. And we can deduce from this that, and from the logic of spousal love in particular, and from Revelation, that marriage has three parts. It has real unity, it has absolute fidelity, and it has fruitfulness. So marriage is always heterosexual, it's always monogamous, it's always indissoluble, it's always fruitful. It's a real union because these man and woman come together in spousal love, and they become one flesh.
Yes.
Then, as Jesus says in the Gospel, they're no longer two, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, so that the whole together is able to reproduce, it's able to procreate. So this is only possible in a man and woman. It requires sexual complementarity. Yeah. And not only is marriage a unity, it's also something indissoluble, because it's based on this spousal love. Spousal love is this total self-donation. I give my total self to you, and that's unconditional, it's total, it's exclusive. So marriage has to be indissoluble, because you can't conditionally give yourself to another. You can't say to someone, well, I'll give myself to you for 10 years, we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. You can't put temporal boundaries on this great gift of spousal love. So marriage has to be indissoluble. It has to be monogamous. Polygamy, he says, radically contradict the love of marriage, radically contradict spousal love. My whole central focus has to be on the other person. There's no room in the human heart for someone to give your whole self to anybody, to more than one person. And marriage is fruitful. That's the last quality of marriage, right? Fruitfulness. So in fruitfulness, marriage, the sexual act kind of reaches its potential. That's what it's for. We have to always remember that we have sexual powers, that the purpose of our sexual powers is procreation. So marriage is fruitful. He talks about how a married couple, when they decide to engage in sexual relations, they kind of enter into the cosmic current, because they're doing the work of creation. They're furthering God's creation, basically. They are, he says in Love and Responsibility, co-creators, rational co-creators with God, which is a wonderful thing to think about, right? That when you're engaged in sexual relations as a young couple with the opportunity for pregnancy, you're working with God, you're co-creators with God, because you can't create the spirit or the soul. God does that. God infuses the soul into that embryo, into that first being as it is formed in sexual act. God does that. So you're working with God in this process. And that's why marriage is such a grandeur of marriage, and why he talks about our sexual powers as having a kind of objective greatness. And why man has to reconcile himself to his greatness, because he's able to do this. He's able to work with God and be a co-creator in the procreative act, bringing into existence this new human life, which is
Yeah.
a wonderful thing. So all of this is part of the arrangement of marriage. The fruitfulness, absolute the fidelity, the unity that it causes, where people are no longer two but one. And that's the way out of that solitude that we hear about in Genesis, that he talks about in Theology of the Body. The way out of original solitude is marriage. This union, communion that's formed by a man and a woman give their total selves to each other.
Well, when you say that, that is so beautiful. It is so profound in our day. And, Pope John Paul referred to it as the primordial sacrament. Marriage is one of the 7 sacraments in our church. And, you see it in the beauty of marriage lived out. When a couple has been married for 62 years and they lose their spouse, and the sorrow and the misery and the sadness and the brokenness that they feel because they lived as one all those years and they loved as one and they participated with God in procreating children, the fruit from their beautiful love. Why did Pope John Paul talk about it as the primordial sacrament, and why is marriage one of the sacraments in our church?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think kind of an important part of his teaching on marriage. He talked about marriage as the sacrament of creation. And first of all, we have to remember that marriage is a high calling. It's as you know very well, it's a high calling. It's demanding. So we need that kind of sacramental help. And marriage is a sacrament of creation because marriage was really instituted by God Himself. In the Garden of Eden, in the creation of Adam and Eve, that's where the first marriage occurs. So God Himself creates marriage during the first moments of the history of the human race, before Jesus Christ has to come and redeem us. So it's the sacrament of creation, and therefore the primordial sacrament.
Okay.
But as we know, there's a fall. So man falls from God's good graces because of that first sin. And things change. Marriage now is disrupted. It's unsettled because now it's possible to look at another and see the body as detached from the person. So I can desire another as an object of gratification. He talks about how after the fall we get the man of concupiscence. And that great phrase, he talks about the concupiscent look. So now human beings are capable of this concupiscent look, capable of using others, using the body for pleasure, which we talked about yesterday. So that's why we need a sacrament that Jesus instituted. Jesus comes along and he institutes marriage as one of the 7 sacraments. This is the sacrament of redemption, which is the source of sanctifying grace, which is going to help fallen man to be married, to get married, to stay married.
Yeah.
So as he says, the sacrament of creation becomes the sacrament of redemption, because now we can draw from the sanctifying graces of that sacrament throughout married life. We don't just get the graces of the day of marriage, but we draw from our married life.
Yeah.
So that's the sacrament of redemption. And that's how we live out the high calling of marriage, through the sacrament. And through prayer together, through oration together, going to Mass together. When married couples do that and call upon and seek those graces, they're going to be there. And they're going to be able to carry on a demanding faith.
Rick, you share about John Paul II's teaching on the domestic church, and also he speaks about the sovereignty of the family. We don't hear that very much. What's meant by the sovereignty of the family, and how important that was to John Paul, and for the family to know that they are a sovereign domestic church? What does that mean in relationship to the church? What does it mean in relationship to political institutions, to the culture, that the family is a sovereign kind of entity?
Sure. Yeah. Again, it's very important ideas that he develops about family. Family is very important here. The family begins with the marital bond, a man and woman who come together in spousal love and marriage to give their whole selves to each other. And in that marital bond, if it's fruitful, they have children, and then so it grows into a community. Right? So the communion grows into a community. And that community is, first of all, a domestic church. It has the responsibility to evangelize says that it has the responsibility to follow in the footsteps of Jesus, who is prophet, priest, and king. So the family has the prophet, the family has the obligation to go out and evangelize, to set a good example for people, to try to bring other people into the church, to bring other people to Christ. As priests, the family has the obligation to pray together, to do a communion of prayer. And as king, the family has the obligation of service, to serve others, particularly the marginalized. So that's how it can live out its vocation as a domestic church. He tells people in Familiaris Consortium, he tells the people, be who you are. The family should be what they are. It should be a domestic church. But the family has sovereignty also. He wants to stress this idea because people want to claim today that, the state has total authority and priority over the family, but that's not true, right? The family has sovereignty. The family is a natural reality, and parental authority is a natural reality. It doesn't come from the state. It comes from the fact that these two people give themselves to each other, commit themselves to each other. And parental authority over children is the result of the fact that only the parents really have the natural disposition, the knowledge, the capacity to take care of the children and educate the children. But they can delegate some of that responsibility to the schools if they want. They don't have to do homeschooling naturally, but that's their responsibility, and that's their prerogative. So that's the sovereignty of the family. The family also is a community with rights. The family has rights, the right to religious liberty, the right to worship as it pleases, the right to educate the children as they please.
Rick, I'm sorry, Rick, we're going to have to pause at this point, really conclude our time. It's been a wonderful sharing, and what a gift you've given to the church. The splendor of marriage, St. John Paul II's vision of love, marriage, family, and the culture of life. Rick Spinello. Go to EWTNRC.com, EWTNRC.com, for you as an individual, for you as a married couple, for you and your family, and for equipping your family members, your loved ones, to stand firm in the gospel of life, marriage, and the family, and it will bear fruit. Rick, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure. Thank you again.
God bless you. We're going to take a pause at this point. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and that beautiful conversation that we had with Rick Spinello and in his description of marriage being a sacrament and saying marriage is hard sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to be married. You need the graces that the church gives you, and you work out your holiness, you work out your life in your marriage of forgiveness and growing, going to confession, receiving the graces, you know what? To be nice, to be kind, to be patient, to speak nice to your wife, your husband, and your children. Those things, because God said, you know what? I know this is going to be hard, and I want you to do this well, but I'm not even going to leave you here. I'm going to give you everything you need to do it. And so, and if you hit a bump in the road and you need some help, there's great Catholic counselors out there for you. So know that here at EWTN, you're going to hear the truth in love. And we know that the church will not only tell you the truth, but it's going to equip you with all the graces you need that you would run your race well for God's glory.
Let's share the message, the good news of life, marriage, and the family. And always know that the message of life, marriage, and the family, as John Paul II would say, is already written on the hearts of people. They might not call it the gospel of life or marriage and the family, but it's already written there. Let's call it forth. Let's help people to remember. Let's help them to come out of the amnesia, the forgetfulness that we have, some of us within the church and outside of the church, and call them to that great good news that they might know who they are. What it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, what it means to love all people, the greatness of marriage and of the family. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You're always at home with Jim and with Joy, and all together, we'll work this out and step into the future. Thank you for your witness to life, marriage, and the family. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.